Hi, everybody. It's Mark Rushton at markrushton.com. It's Saturday, January 15th, 2022. And this video is called Foreign Accounts. Foreign Accounts. So I'm going to talk about uh, getting getting accounts on streaming services outside of the United States, or if you are outside the United States, what it takes to get an account on a service like Pandora. Sometimes you need more than a VPN. So I'm going to talk about what I do. So I'm a musician. I've been publishing music for 20 years on digital services for the past 18 years, and I've been on the streamers since as long as they've been around. And one thing that I always talk about is you need to be everywhere. You can't just I yeah, you can go and do physical media. Yeah, you can go be on the island of Bandcamp, but if you really want your music to be heard, if you eventually want to get some sort of an audience, people listening to it, and like I say, people are looking for the kind of music that you make. They're not looking for you. They're not looking for you. They're looking for the kind of music that you make. And so if you understand that sort of concept, and you go and you do things like you build daily playlists from your catalog. Now, the catalog, if you don't have a very big catalog, you can include other like-minded artists, kind of spread them out. Don't make a very huge playlist or anything like that. And then you can use services like Tune My Music and Soundees to transfer them to different services, not only available in the United States, but around the world. Now, one thing that I do is that I subscribe to at least 6 streaming services. It's at least 6. It could be 7. I think it's 6. And some of those are to have the account and to see whether or not transferring regular playlists, public playlists of music, if they are discoverable on those other services. And yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. What did you think this was going to be easy? Did you think because you got, an A plus or whatever in the music class that suddenly you were going to be top of the pops? No, it's a lot of work. Work. So yeah, what I've been doing for the last however long here is I build my playlists in Spotify, and then I go and I use those services, Soundees and Tune My Music, to transfer them here, there, everywhere. And one thing that I noticed recently on these services is that you could transfer to. There's a bunch of services out there that I don't have the ability to have an account on. And I will use KKBox as my first example. So KKBox is a streaming service that's based out of Taiwan or China or something like that. I don't know. I have been getting some royalties from them for a few years here. Not a lot. Of course, the standard of living is a little bit different there. So the royalty rate is going to be much less than what you see from United States based streams or European streams or even South American streams or even Japanese streams. But like I said, you should be everywhere because you never know. You never know what they're looking for. And when you build this playlist, in the description and even in the title, if you can, just make separate playlists with that country's language in it. Use the Google Translate. Find those keywords. I just put them in the description, but I'm going to start making some with it in the title. Let's see what happens, right? Because not everybody in the world speaks English, and these services don't translate. Not that I'm aware of, right? So you have to be discoverable in that way. But how do you get on the KK box? They're in China. It's not like I can just go and log in with my computer and say, "Oh, hey, I want to get an account." Now that worked with Yandex for Russia. That worked with Yandex, but did not work with KK box. So what I did was I signed up for Proton VPN. This isn't an ad. You're not going to get free anything or whatever. I paid for 1 month because I thought, well, this isn't going to take me any longer than a month to get a VPN. So it sort of looks like that I'm in that country or maybe a country that, it's approved. And so, yeah, I signed up for Proton VPN, was able to get into KK Box, create an account. I didn't get to the point where I was going to pay for it or have the free trial, but I had the account, right? I logged in with a login and a password. And then I went over to my trusty service that transfers playlists over to KKBox and signed in with that login, and it worked. It worked. I transferred one playlist and it transferred. And they actually had the music on the service. It said that the tracks actually transferred. It only had two tracks in there. But that was a playlist where I knew the music had been distributed to KKBox. So that was again, that's all very good information. So right now, on a separate computer over here, I'm transferring it's about 700 playlists and almost 53,000 tracks. And we're at 9%. It's been a few hours. It's going to probably go on all night here, but that's good. That's good. And that's when I'll be adding to the arsenal for the future. We'll get the 700 on there. That's fine. Maybe those will make a little bit of money will they make $10 in the next year or something like that after I cancel the VPN? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. You know? It's like that thing, consider everything an experiment. That's all this is. Oh, I'm up to 10% now. Yay, me. So anyway, yeah, KKBox was like super easy. But there's a bunch other out there that are not that easy. And one of them is Reso. Reso is this Japanese and sort of Indonesia and some parts of Eastern Asia. But I got the first thing that I tried to do with the Proton VPN. I logged into a Japanese server and downloaded the Reso app. But unfortunately, Reso only wanted a Google login or a Facebook login. And I looked at that and I thought, I'm screwed. Maybe it'll. No. The Reso is using those two services for some sort of country authentication. And there's not much I'm sure that there may be some other way to go and kludge it or whatever like that. But I was like, I don't have time for this. So I just wrote an email to Reso customer service. Maybe, hopefully, please, can you get me an account? And I was very direct. I said, I'm a publishing recording artist in the United States. I'd like to have an account on Reso, not for accessing content, but for instead being able to transfer playlists that I have made of my music and other artists' music to make them public on the Reso service, to contribute artistically to your streaming service world, whatever it is. And I was a little more succinct than that, but yeah, that was that. That's in the works. We'll see what happens. They may come back and say no, but typically these sorts of services, and I did say that you recently signed an agreement with SoundEase to allow transferring of public playlists to your service. So if you don't know that, then contact somebody in the business division or whatever. Again, I didn't go that far. We'll see what happens. If nothing happens, then we'll figure something out eventually. I don't know. But here's the reason that that sort of thing might work. Now, last year, was it last year or was it the year prior? I think it was last year. I was working with an artist who lives in helping out a musician who is based in Paris, France. And I was telling him that, hey, some of your music is on Pandora, but not everything. And I was trying to help him out. And he had signed up for Pandora AMP. Now, somebody in Paris, France can't listen to Pandora unless you have, like, I guess, a VPN or something like that. I'm not sure. But he did have access to Pandora AMP, which is the music promotional aspect for artists, musical promotion aspect of Pandora. It's got a bunch of lots of options and things in there. It's a lot of work to learn, but it's a nice thing. And anyway, he had some problems signing up and everything like that. So I encouraged him. I said, "Here are some people you need to get in contact at Pandora, and then we can work on trying to get your catalog, all of your catalog, showing on Pandora." And so he worked with them. He was able to get in. He was able to start doing things that are in AMP, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. He was able to start build. He as a part of AMP, you can build playlists within AMP. You don't necessarily have to. You don't have to have a Pandora listening account, which again he would not be able to access. So anyway, that was kind of cool, you know. And then what was it, about a year ago? I mentioned I was talking there. Somebody had commented on one of my videos. There was a guy, I think his name was Akin. He was from Nigeria, and he was talking about how he was making money from Pandora, and he was distributed. He had his music distributed on Pandora. Again, he can't listen to Pandora unless he's probably got a VPN or. And why would you do that, right? Why would you do that when you could just listen to your stuff on a local service or anything like that? But he we exchanged. He was doing well. He didn't have hits, but he was making enough money to live pretty well, for the standard of living there in Nigeria. And so that's pretty cool that musicians in other parts of the world can get onto these services and release things, build playlists, do promotional efforts and things like that. That's pretty cool, because that kind of just, people listen to music all around the world. It's like that. What was it? The K-pop, the Korean pop, all those boy bands. That's a huge thing now. 20 years ago, it's almost impossible to find in the U.S., if I'm not mistaken. I mean, what were you going to do? You're going to go into Tower Records and, oh, can I get some K-pop? And they're like, well, you might have one or two things in the import section there. Maybe we can order for you. It'll be 2 years, and then we'll sell it out from underneath you to somebody else. But yeah, that's I've had those experiences, and I have built the playlists, transferred them to other services, and not everything works, but some, over time, you gather that momentum. You're building for the future. When you build playlists and you transfer them to lots and lots of different places around the world, you are building for the future. And you know, as time goes by, as we get more into the future, the digital distribution services will eventually distribute your music just everywhere, because even today there are more things coming online, and all that stuff going on. And it's like super important to be everywhere. And the other thing that I talk about, of course, on the back end, is with regard to your mechanical royalties and publishing royalties. And that's why I use Song Trust, which is it's a one-stop shop for those sound recording, mechanical, and publishing royalties worldwide. I don't know how many societies they collect from around the world, like 60, at least 60. And that's awesome. That's awesome. I've been able to get a whole bunch of foreign royalties that I would never have been able to get on my own. Well, maybe, but it would have been a heck of a lot of work. They definitely do earn their commission, their percentage. So I wanted to talk about that. There's a few other services that I'm going to try to experiment on here in the next couple of weeks. Try to get accounts on. There's one in Russia called VK. It's got this long word, but it's a VK. And there's a Brazilian one called Brisa Music. I don't know if I'm distributed there. I might not be, but I may be distributed to them in the future. You never know. What was the other one here? There were more. Oh, Angami. Angami. I've been getting royalties from Angami for a few years. Yeah, the Middle Eastern streaming, so they love the nature recordings because they're in a desert. And Buzz, maybe, I don't know. And UC Music, it's in Denmark. I don't know anything about that, but yeah. And I've been getting royalties late. Let's talk a little bit about royalties, because the middle of the month is like when I when I when I start getting those royalties really come in. The Sound Drop, Route Note. I just got some more from DistroKid for what was it? November Pandora, and CD Baby October Spotify. That just rolling in there. I was looking. I always kind of, one thing that I do is when I get my reporting from a particular distributor, I always go through the Excel file, whether it's TXT, TSV, XLS, XLSS, CSV. Load those up in there, and then you go into data filter, and you filter by streaming service, and you see how much you earn from each streaming service. And there was a service, UMA, which I don't know if is that Universal Music something, but it's all Russian Federation stuff, Kazakhstan and Belarus. I earned not a lot of money there. I would call it wine money. And I don't really drink anymore, but I'll call it wine money. And so that was a little surprising, because usually, like the Yandex, the royalties are micro fractions. So I'm not quite sure what is going on with that UMA there. UMA, right? And then 10 cent. And now I'm earning a little bit more than 10 cents from 10 cent. I know it's a very big service. And it's like, how do I get on 10? There's no Soundies and Tune My Music. I don't believe they do transfers to 10 cent yet, but maybe I'll go and get a 10 cent account just in case, again, down the road, right? There was something else here. I haven't got all that reporting. Well, let's hold that off on that one for later. So the next week to 10 days, I'll be getting some reporting from Apple, and I'm kind of curious what the second month of Apple Fitness Plus is going to be, because the first month, first month, I was a little shocked. I was a little shocked at Apple Fitness Plus. I'm not sure but I want it to continue. I'd love it to continue. It's we'll see. I think that one's just dumb luck on my part. Well, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that eventually. I don't like to talk numbers so much. I just like to talk generalities and things like that. Because who else am I going to talk to about this? I'm not going to bore my wife with this, right? And other musicians, they don't. I don't. Most musicians, they don't. Where just can you give me some money so I can buy some weed? Isn't that how it is? Yeah, you do what you need to do on your own time. I'm busy trying to break into the Chinese market. The Chinese market, yeah. Trying to break into Belarus. I know there's stuff going on in the Ukraine and Russia and everything like. I'm still getting royalties. It's amazing I get anything. Vietnam, countries like that. What was the other one I got? A whole bunch of African countries got royalties. It's very small amounts, but I'm like, it's it. The Germany used to be that small, and and now the Gabon is that small, right? Seriously, Burkina Faso. It's like, what? Don't they have a civil war there? I'm getting royalties from that place. Great, awesome. All right, that's it. I gotta go make some dinner. The sun's setting. Talk to you later.